Log on to fitmanperformance.com for the latest and greatest truth about training, nutrition, recovery, and unleashing your inner greatness. And download your copy of my groundbreaking ebook, Use Speed to Get Lean, the Sprinting Handbook for Lifters at usespeedtogetlean.com. Hey everybody, it's your man Fitman, head performance coach right here at the Fitman Performance Center. And today's topic, we're going to get into the power of sprinting. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that my #1 rated exercise in the entire training game is sprinting. There's no other exercise that combines the elements of building power and developing athletic ability and getting rid of body fat and building muscle like sprinting. It's that great of an exercise. It is Thanos with all of the Infinity Stones. But the problem is that most people in the training game, in the lifting game, even in the sports game, would rather waste their time with all these other methods of quote unquote cardio and just avoid sprinting. And this is why a lot of folks are stuck when it comes to how lean they are, how athletic they are, how fast they are, because your body is a reflection of not only just your diet, but of your training. I can look at somebody and immediately know if they are doing a real training program or if it's all just fake hustle, if it's all just talk. Now, I want to talk about the 3 reasons or the 3 things that make sprinting superior to all forms of conditioning. #1 is time. So why would you, as a smart person, go back in the cardio section of some gym? Like most lifters, they walk in just like a zombie and go straight back to the cardio section to start and spend 1 hour and spend 2 hours. And even sometimes I've seen it spend 3 hours back there just to have some machine tell you that you've burned 85 calories. Are you kidding me? Whoop-de-doo! Because once you step off that treadmill, once you step off that elliptical, once you step off that Stairmaster, the effect of what you've done is over. Now, on the other hand, if you go out to the track and you say, hey, I'm gonna run. Now, we're talking about sprinting in terms of fat loss specifically. We're not talking about sprinting in terms of speed development. So let's clear that up too. Because a lot of the workouts I'm going to recommend, I wouldn't recommend for pure speed development, okay? So we're on the track, and let's say I'm going to run 6 100-meter sprints. Let's say I'm going to run 5 200-meter sprints. Let's say I'm going to run 4 300-meter sprints. Do you think my workout is going to take an hour or 2 hours? No, it's impossible. The workout is going to be done quickly. Because sprinting, true sprinting anyway, you have to do it fast. Now, I'm not talking about you going out there and thinking, oh, I'm Usain Bolt. Oh, I'm Carl Lewis. Oh, I'm Michael Johnson. And trying to go out there and blow it at 100% max effort speed. No. You got to build yourself up. Start at 80%. 80% is not that fast, but it's going to be fast enough for you if you're a beginner. And eventually get up to 85%. And eventually get up to 90%. And as somebody who's just trying to lose body fat, that's all you really need. We're not talking about speed development. So the first thing that sprinting is going to do is that it's going to save time. You can be done in 15 minutes. You could be done in 20 minutes. Your workout could be over in 25 minutes. And then the after effect is greater than anything that you can ever think about doing in some cardio section. because you use so much energy in that sprinting session, your body's going to use energy afterwards. In the training game, we call it EPOC, excess post-oxygen consumption. This means that you're using a lot of energy afterwards, long after the workout is done. And that's what allows you to dig into those stubborn body fat stores. This is what sprinting does. It makes no sense to go spend 2 hours doing something when you can get something better and more effective in 20 minutes or 25 minutes. It's ridiculous. So the first thing that sprinting does is that it saves time. You don't have to do it for as long to get a better result. Number 2, sprinting is going to help you build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. You know what happens when you spend hours back in the cardio section? You start to get smaller. Now, you may see the number on the scale start to go down, but this is the great misconception, because the scale is the least important tool in terms of measuring progress when you are trying to build muscle or lose body fat. You have to use the mirror. You have to use measurements. You have to gauge your progress in the gym to see what's really going on. But if you spend all your time back there and you're on the classic starvation diet and you're on the classic, now I'm doing 20 reps per exercise with light weight, you start to get smaller because you're not just losing body fat, you're losing muscle mass, which is never acceptable. We try to retain the muscle at all costs. It's so hard to build. It's so precious. We don't want to waste it. This is what happens when you spend all your time doing this quote unquote cardio. So with sprinting, because it is so intense and because it is so similar to lifting weights, while you are performing sprints, you are building muscle and getting rid of body fat at the same time. That's what you're looking to do. Look at the sprinter's body. Look at the sprinter body. Look at the sprinter body. I'm a sprinter body. When I was younger and didn't know any better, I would do all the long stuff. What type of body did I have? That long, wiry, rail thin, bottom shelf body. And I didn't like it. When I started to sprint and started to lift is when my body saw its greatest changes. Obviously, you've got to have the right diet too. Because if you sprint and lift on a starvation diet, you will lose muscle mass and you will get injured. So the diet has to match what you're doing. But sprinting, not long duration cardio, is what preserves muscle mass and builds muscle mass and allows you to lose body fat at the same time. It doesn't happen back in the cardio section. It doesn't happen lifting light weights for 20 reps and all these high rep sets. That's not how it happens. It happens with sprinting. Now, number 3, the most important thing that sprinting does is that it builds mental toughness. Today's generation in the iron game is soft, y'all. I've lifted with tons of guys, lifted with tons of girls and women. And the one thing that most lifters and most athletes don't have is mental toughness. When the going gets rough, they quit. And I'll tell you, when I was younger, when I was 21 years old, down at Westchester University, I suffered one of the worst moments of my entire life. I quit in a workout, the only time I've ever done this. And I never felt more ashamed. I never felt more embarrassed. It took years for me to finally kill that demon. I had to go do the workout about 5 or 6 more times, and I had to add repetitions onto it and make it almost impossible to do just to kill the demon, just to erase that feeling of embarrassment. But that was the death of the old me and the birth of the new me. Because the old me couldn't be standing here right now. Because he had the ability to quit. The new me hasn't quit since then. That was in 2004. It's 2020. That's 16 years, no quitting. Workouts have beat me to the point where, man, I'm losing today. I'm not lifting as much weight as I thought. Or I'm not sprinting as fast as I thought I could today. Like, workouts have beat me. That happens in the Iron Game. But I've never quit again. A lot of y'all today quit. A lot of y'all today do one workout, it's over. You never do it again. Or I go run these sprints. I've taken people outside the sprint. They do one sprint workout. Yeah, of course the first one's gonna be terrible. You out of shape. You've never sprinted. But you gotta keep coming back so that you get better at it. So that your body adapts to it. A lot of folks feel that the pain of the first day and they quit. I see them 5 years later, they are in worse shape. What if on that day they said, you know what? I'm gonna take my losses, I'm gonna take my embarrassment, but I'm gonna keep sprinting for 5 years. You would have had a lean body by now, dog. You would have lost that gut, girl. You would have had it by now. It's the mental toughness. It's what separates the contenders from the pretenders. It's what separates the champions from the losers. The winners from the losers. It's mental toughness. And sprinting builds mental toughness way better than the cardio section. It's not even close. One of my least favorite sprinting workouts is 3-2-1-1. You run a 300, you run a 200, and then you run two 100s. It's either a 1 or a 2 set workout. It's terrible every single time. I've been doing it since forever, since 2004, 2005, over 15 years. It still feels terrible, but it builds that mental toughness. So that when life knocks you down, like how life knocked me down during this pandemic, lost 50% of my business revenue within a few weeks. But I didn't panic. You know why? Because the things I learned on that track with sprinting translate over to life. It's mental toughness. Things are going to be okay. You're knocked down right now. It hurts. It's painful. But you can come back and you can overcome. So these are the reasons why sprinting is superior to doing cardio and the treadmill and the elliptical and the Stairmaster. If you want what you don't have, you have to be willing to do what you haven't done. It's really simple. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. For many years, the only ways that I trained my back, this is all prior to 2010, was with the lat pull down and the seated rows. And I didn't have any back width or anything. I didn't have any lats. It showed up at my first ever bodybuilding show. I had no upper body. And I said, you know what? I'm done with all that. Let's make it harder. Let's now focus on chin-ups. And once I started doing these chins every single week, 2 and 3 days a week, I was able to build a respectable upper body. I ain't got the best upper body in the whole world, y'all. Not by far. But from where I was in 2011 to where I am now, that's what we're talking about. Because I had to do something I hadn't done before, which was focus on chin-ups and pull-ups and hammer grip pull-ups and weighted chin-ups and just keep doing them over and over and over again, embracing the mundane. That's what it comes down to. So that's how sprinting is superior to other forms of cardio, conditioning. If you start to apply and put sprinting into your workouts, you can have a lean athletic body. But if you're not willing to make that change and not willing to challenge yourself, you're gonna stay the same or get worse. Thanks for checking out the video. It's your man, Fitman. Holla at a trainer when you see me at the center.